Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, you are again welcomed into this lecture, and as you remember that we are talking about the FBR composition, and we also talked about in the previous lecture the constitutional framework for recruitment of employees. I am sure that you are very happy that you are going to learn about the recruitment process, because you may be one of the employees or you are at a position where you do recruit the employees. So if you know the procedure well and in a perfect way, it means you can handle the situations in a proper way. So if you remember, we talked about that what is the FBR, Federal Board of Revenue. Its major function is just to levy and collect the revenue. Although over the years its performance has not been as effective as it should be, it is not different from other institutions of the Pakistan. So the performance is similar about this institution, but its importance is extremely high because it provides the lifeline to the economy, and all the governments depends on the performance of the FBR. For example, if a government has to increase its revenue and as against the increased expenditure, the government depends on the FBR, and FBR has to arrange the domestic resource mobilization for the proper and the routine functioning of the government. So there have been different developments in the FBR over the years. This system is totally borrowed from the Great Britain, and up to 2007 it was called the CBR, Central Board of Revenue. Now its new name is FBR, Federal Board of Revenue. It is being headed by a chairman, and chairman is also the secretary of the Revenue Division. The chairman is being appointed by the President of Pakistan on the recommendations of the Prime Ministers. Chairman is further assisted by some of the members. They are called the line member, the functional member, and the administrative members. There are different departments, and all these members control these statistics department, law department, and other department. These are being segregated to just facilitate the system as is in other institution. After this, we started about the constitutional framework recruitment. We started from the very first step, that was that how to recruit the people. The all recruitments, the all procedure, the discipline, the recruitment process, everything is being done according to the Civil Servants Act 1973, that is a part of the Constitution of Pakistan 1973. There have been slight modification into this act, but however the whole or the major framework remain the same. We started from the probation. Probation is simply the first 2 years period. It may differ from service to service, in which an employee is given the opportunity to prove that he is fit for this job. No doubt he has been appointed on that job by taking the examination and the interview, but still, as I said in the previous lecture, there may be some of the rare cases when a unsuitable candidate reaches at the top or at the appointment position. So after 2 years or the specified time, the probation, the member becomes, the candidate becomes confirmed if his or her performance is satisfactory. If unfortunately his performance is not up to the mark, then there are two options. He may be given, he may be extended his probation, or he may be removed from the service. It should be remembered that any candidate or any employee can be removed from the service without notice when he is on the probation. After the probation, the permanent procedure, I just talked about this. that if you complete the probation period satisfactory, then you are permanent, and as you become permanent, you are now the part of a very large group of the employees. Your seniority and all other benefits, you are also a beneficiary of those. After this confirmation, then there are the seniority. Your seniority list is also being made or prepared, and in the each civil servants compete with his counterparts, not it is across the, you can say, the departments, and you after knowing your seniority, you can just imagine that how you will promote over the time in the next few years. After the seniority list, then there was some other method. We will continue this discussion, and let's start from the posting and transfers. You may be transferred. Any employee can be transferred at any time, and he may be posted at any post there. Any civil servant, if I read out that exact lines from the Constitution, any civil servant shall be liable to serve anywhere. And when you nowadays see some of the advertisement, they see that this post is the candidate may be appointed at anywhere in Pakistan if it is a federal government service. Within or outside Pakistan and equivalent to our higher post, you may be appointed at the equivalent post across Pakistan or outside the Pakistan, but you may be given the higher opportunity. And what is this? Under the federal government, you may be any provincial government, local authority, the government may appoint you anywhere, or a corporation body set up or established by any such government. So if there is any of the corporation that this government has established, you may be transferred for there. And this is the simplest procedure of the posting and the transfers. Termination of service. Very fearful things, and everyone should avoid, and this is, you can say, a nightmare. But however, there are some of the reasons, and sometimes it becomes necessary to terminate a candidate or terminate an employee from the service. So what the rules and regulations says, the service of a civil servant may be terminated without notice. It is very interesting that without notice, but don't worry that what is the during the initial or extended periods of probation, not the promotion, it is the probation. What this means, that if you are on the probation or your probation has been extended due to any reason, then you may be terminated from the service without any notice. So you should be critical and extremely careful when you are on probation, and it has been our evidence and the experience that the people behave very good when they are on the probation, but the situation totally change when he gets the permanent letter, because now he is eligible for any of the right, and he may go to the court, he may suit against the institution, and he has many other privileges. So if you are at the higher post, you should be aware of this, that if an employee is on the probation, you can kick him out without any of the notice, or the person may be terminated on the expiry of the initial or extended period of his employment. Probation pe hai without notice, but if you are on, for example, 2 or 3 year contract, and your contract comes to an end, or if it was an extended contract, it comes to an end, and the government doesn't extend it further or gives further opportunity, or 6 months or 1 year, you are considered to be terminated from the post, because it was not the permanent post and it was your contract, and as the contract expire, you are automatically considered that you are out of the service. Reversion to lower posts. Sometimes due to some special reason, rather than termination, you may be reverted to the lower post. Most of the time it is being done due to any of the as a result of any of the disciplinary action. Sometimes it is being done by any of the employee, that you can say his discipline says that rather than termination he should be reverted to the lower post. It is also a kind of punishment, and particularly in the police it happens more occasionally as compared to the other service. However, there are the examples, and we can see that there are different examples that can be quoted for this. So what the law says is civil servant shall liable to reversion to his lower post. For example, if I am assistant professor, I may be reverted to the lecturer, and if a professor is, he may be reverted towards the associate professor or the assistant professor. But there are two conditions. What those conditions are? No civil servant shall be dismissed or removed from service, reduced in rank by any authority subordinate to that which he was appointed. ना तो आपको आपका जूनियर टर्मिनेट कर सकता है, करवा सकता है. This is interesting because sometimes your subordinate are so powerful that you have to surrender before them due to their political or any of the background. However, we are just confine ourselves here that no civil servant can be dismissed or removed from service or reduced in rank. ना तो आप उसको remove कर सकते हैं, terminate कर सकते हैं, ना उसको जो है वो reduce कर सकते हैं. In which situation? Any subordinate cannot do this, but at the person who is sitting at a higher post, he can enjoy all these privileges. He can remove you, he can terminate you, and he can revert you to the lower post. However, do not worry, do not get fear from your subordinates. They have no such kind of authority. The second thing in this regard is no removal of any civil servant until he has been given a reasonable opportunity of showing cause against the action. That these are called the show cause notice. That if you think that some of your subordinate or the junior or any of the employee has committed some of the mistake or not the crime, I would like to use this word, and he deserves the punishment, and you think that the act is so heinous and so critical that the removal is now necessary. However, the act is punishable, you will have to give him the opportunity to represent himself and show cause notice to justify him. So when you become the permanent, in probation need not to be to show any of the any kind of this show cause notice. But if a person is or the employee is permanent, then you will have to give him the opportunity that he justify himself. If he justifies it, most of the time it happens, because if he justifies himself, you may forgive him, but if you think that he is responsible for these things, the competent authority can remove that person. Retirement from the service. Look at this. From your youngness, I just brought you in a few of lecture to the end of your retirement. So the retirement from the service, and there are two criteria. There are some other criteria like the medical retirement and whatsoever, but we just talk about the general criteria. If a civil servant will retire from his service, how he will retire? On such date after he has completed 20 years of satisfactory service qualifying for pension and other retirement benefits. If you have completed 20 years of your service satisfactorily and according to the rules and regulation, you are now qualified for pension or other retirement benefits. So it means after 20 years, now there is option for you. If you want to continue, well and good, but if you want to retire, there is no compulsion in the constitution, and you are eligible for the retirement and the pension benefit. The other case may be if you do not think that, you think that you still can work and you have the desire to work further, what is this, or on the completion of 60 years of age. When you have 60 years of age, then you are automatically considered that you are retired. But in some post, particularly in the higher courts, the retirement of the judge is 65 years. So there it will be applicable 65. In most of the other services, it is rule of thumb that after the retirement and the 60 years is the age of retirement. So as you touch the 60 years, you become automatically retired from the service. Employment after retirement. Every person, if he is in good health and he has no and other opportunities to work, he wants to be re-employed after the retirement. Particularly the people who have been in power, they think and they are more they have more lust for reappointment, and sometimes it is necessary because that person is so experienced and so necessary for the institution that his re-employment can boost or becomes necessary for the institution. So there is clearly mentioned in the law that how this could be achieved. A retired civil servant, now I am supposing that whether you are retired after 20 years, now either you are retired after the 60 years. So a retired civil servant shall not be re-employed. Look at this. Shall not, the Constitution or the Act of Civil Servants 1973, it clearly states that there is no room for the re-employment. But you will see just in the second or the third line that there are always provision or the gray areas in the Pakistan Constitution to which anybody can exploit. So the first line categorically says no re-employment after the retirement under the federal government unless, now the gray area start, unless this re-employment is necessary in the public interest. The public interest and the vested public interest has caused Pakistan's interest too much. This is a very vague term and many of the time it is utilized in the negative sense. To show the public it is positively used, but in reality its purpose is to just and nepotism and the favoritism. However, what the Constitution or the Act says, we should just confine. We should also be careful about this, what is its implementation. So now supposing that you are retired, you cannot be re-employed, but if your presence or the re-employment becomes necessary for the vested interest of the institution or the public, and then it can be made with the prior approval of the competent authority. Two words I really enjoy in this Constitution. The one is the interest, public interest, and the other is the competent authority. So here the competent authority means you see that the people who just are going to retire, they are so wary that they keep their competent authority very happy by giving some of the unfavor or making their praise or being in their good books, because they have an eye that they are just going to retire and their reappointment is dependent upon the provision or the approval of the competent authority. So as the competent authority thinks that he or she is still eligible for the reappointment, he will reappoint that person. There could be numerous examples where the re-employment is there. In my personal view, I am not totally against this, but this option should be used very, very rarely, because there are some of the personalities that are really, you can say, the indispensable for any of the institution, but still this option should be used rarely. For example, I would like to quote from the Nelson Mandela. After the 27 years of imprisonment, he became the president of the South Africa, but he just completed only one term, 4 or 5 years, and he said no, there are other people who can replace him. But in Pakistan the situation is different. If I am sitting here, I will think that I am only the person that can run this institution, and the people who are around me, they will just ensure me that I am the unique person here. So in this way the problem creates, nothing is unique, only the Almighty Allah is there. Everything is replaceable. Every person has his or her substitute. So this is the you can say the story behind the re-employment in after retirement. Now if you want to re-employ, keep your boss happy, and if you want to re-employ anyone, so let her or him know that he or she can be only appointed on the approval of you people. Definitely then the people will do each and everything to keep you happy. Conduct. During service, the government service, the civil servant has to behave under the rules and regulation that are clearly written in the Civil Servant Acts. So what is the act? The first is he should keep away himself or herself from the politics, because the politician, if a civil servant becomes politics or becomes involved in the politics, he doesn't remain impartial. He becomes a party, and he anticipates in the future that which government is going to come, and he is now the part of the now machinery. He is now dictating that person should come into this. However, the role of the civil servant is just to follow the government, just to follow the direction from the higher authorities, and just to disburse without impartiality. So our constitution restricts any of the political activity during the service, and even if after the service, after the retirement, you want to come to the politics, you will have to spend at least 2 years. 2 years you can't appear in any of the political, you can say, the post. You cannot be the member of National Assembly, Senate, and many others. However, in Pakistan, the situation is different. The civil servant run the, you can say, the campaign of different parties. There are certainly the TVs, cameras have captured number of people who were running the campaign of different parties. But what the constitution say, look at here. The conduct of a civil servant shall be regulated by rules made or instruction issued by government. What the government, although it is written in the constitution, but time to time government or the competent authority may issue this, or prescribed authority, whether generally or in respect of a specified group or class of civil servant. So the rules never remains the same. There are changes, there is demand for the changes, because sometime nowadays you can see there is a new law that if a public servant appears on the media without the prior approval of the competent authority, he may be given the show cause notice. So it is a good, because in this way, if for example you are the IG police of Islamabad and you appear before at the media and you tell this and that, in this way you are showing your biasness. No doubt you are independent, no doubt you are impartial, but still your wording or your statement will show that you are defending any of the party. So then there is the conduct. So during your service you should be very regular or very careful about this conduct, because if you will be responsible for misconduct, there are disciplinary actions that I am going to discuss in the next slide. But at the same time, it may be written on your service book or in your record that you have been the victim of, you have been the player of misconduct in some year or in some activity, and when you will be getting promotion at your required time. E&D rules. The people always threat you that why not start a procedural karwai against you under the E&D. E&D, efficiency and discipline rule. The civil servants should be efficient and he should be well disciplined, because the bureaucracy or the civil servants, they are the wheel of the system or the states, and they are very important. So what are the rules? A civil servant shall be liable to prescribed disciplinary action and penalties in accordance with the prescribed procedure. If you make any of the misconduct, you are liable to be punished under the E and D rules. Still, there should be the you should provide the give up opportunity to defend that person, show cause notice, etc. However, the detail cannot be mentioned here because there are number of provision, number of clauses that show that if this will be, he will be responsible, or punishment is such and such. But here I am giving you the general scenario that in under the efficiency and the discipline rule, any of the civil servant is not above this. He may be suited, or he may be penalized under the E and D rule. Every civil servant is liable to have a pay, and the pay, we will discuss the pension at later stage. Pay in different service cadres, the pay differs from one way or the other. There are some of the benefits that are available only in the federal government, and there are many of the benefits that are not available in the other provincial government. There are big cities allowance and whatsoever. So what the pay starts is civil servant appointed to a post shall be entitled to the pay sanctioned for such post. So the pay structure is always given. For example, if you are applying for the 17th grade post in the federal government, you can see the structure of BPS 70s or BS 70. So what is there? There will be the basic pay, there will be this and this, the deduction and the whatsoever. Every procedural detail is available there. So you will be acting according to this, and you can apply this, and as you get the job, you will be given the pay that is according to the rules and regulation according to that specific pay post. It doesn't mean that you go at the you are selected at the 17th grade and you say that you require the salary of the 18th post. No, the whole structure is there. Even one rupee is written, each and everything is written in the constitution. Pay will be fixed in prescribed manner. As you will go year by year, and as you will start your service, your pay will be fixed according to the rules and regulation. And the account officer, when you will go into the account office or the EGPR, you will come to know that these people are very competent in fixing your pays. But over time, when you will see that if there is any deduction, they will definitely immediately apply this. But unfortunately, if there are some of the benefits, they will take time to do this. However, the money will not go in their pocket. They are now making room for the bribe, that for example, if you have some of the extra increment, they will not add it you automatically, though they receive the order for this. What is the reason behind this? They will, because you will approach them and they will say, no, there is no time for this. They are so busy and they are the so situation. And what will happen? You will automatically, after 2 or 3rd visit, you will say that what is the reason, how this could be the possible, and then the corruption starts in this way. So your pay will be fixed according to the prescribed manner, so you need not to worry about this. If an order of dismissal or removal set aside later will entitle the servants to the area. For example, unfortunately, you are dismissed or you are removed from the service on any of the disciplinary, as a result of any of the disciplinary action. But you go to the court because you think that you are totally innocent and you are not responsible for this. Now you are out of the service. The case keeps on in the judiciary or service tribunal, and fortunately at the end of 1 year the case is decided in your favor. So now what happened, that you were removed 1 year back or you were dismissed 1 year back, but here what is this, after 1 year it has been decided that you were innocent and you were not responsible for this and you were removed from the service. not in a proper way. So what is this? Now you are eligible for the arrears, because now your removal or the dismissal letter has been set aside कि ये गलत था जी, जो है रिमूवल जो है या जो है वो सस्पेंशन और डिसमिसल जो है this was not according to the rules and regulation. So what you will be entitled about the arrears. So it means many times the people get arrear for this, because nowadays the vigilant courts and the courts decide most of the time in favor of the employees if they think that this employee is innocent and there was not satisfactory prescribed manner adopted to just remove or dismiss him. Leave. Do you need leave right now? Yes, every civil servant has the privilege to have leave. There are different kinds of leave. Before explaining those kinds of leaves, I will let you just read that what the Constitution says. A civil servant shall be allowed leave in accordance with the leave rule applicable to him. Now there are different categories. If you are on contract, there are other is ad hoc and the other is permanent. So the leave rule differ from one category to another category. In some of the situation at contract, you are not allowed some of the specific categories of the leave. So rather than going into that detail, I would like to just give you, first is the casual leave. It is the right of each and every civil servant that he can enjoy the casual leave if even he is on the contract basis, he is on the ad hoc basis or the permanent, because casual leave, you know, any time any emergency can occur. So these are, now the number of casual leave may differ from one department to the other. Most of the time it is round about 2 days in a month, and if we multiply it and we get the conclusion that in a year it is 24. But however, it could be different from one scenario to another. The other is, this was the casual leave. The other is earned leave. Earned leave means that you will get the leave and you will be getting the benefits. This is for most of the time, this is when you complete a certain period of your service, then you are eligible for this. For example, if there are 24 earned leave a year and you have completed 10 years, now you are eligible to enjoy 240 days of this this earned leave. So there are other leaves. There are the maternity leaves. So definitely the female require this when they during their pregnancy, and when they are near to delivery, they need such kind of thing, and there is the provision in the law, because this is the natural phenomena. It cannot be ignored, and I think there is round about 50 plus days for the and there is the maternity leave, and I think it is round about even the 90 days. However, sometimes it may be reduced, it may be increased in critical situation. There is the provision in this law for that. At the contract level, it is also available, ad hoc also, because it is a natural phenomena, and it will be ridiculous if you just keep it on the permanent and ad hoc and the contract, because any of the female may have delivery, even she is at the contract basis, ad hoc basis, at the permanent basis. So the leave procedure complete and complete. There are also the sabbatical leave, there are other leaves, medical leaves, all these have. So now this is not a proper time to give it detail, because if I just concentrate on this topic leave, it will consume enormous time. So the leave in this is the part of your service. However, you should be well aware of some of the salient feature of the leave, because each and every civil servant has to come across this phenomenon, that there are ex-Pakistan leave, there are other leaves. So how you have to provide, if you are at the higher authority, you should know that if your employee approach for any of the leave, and if you are at the lower level, you need any kind of leave, you should aware that what are your rights and how you can approach for this. Pension and gratuity. retire करके आपको I sent you back to your home. So what is this? When a person, now one assumption that you have completed your service according to the laws prescribed manner, and what is this? On retirement from service, a civil servant will be entitled to receive such pension or gratuity or both. Most of the time in many of the scenarios, these are pension and gratuity both, as may be prescribed. This word is very comprehensive. It differs, and it are you can say a very thick booklet of this, that one there are the pension and the gratuity rules, and the account in account office people are very clever and they know each and everything, because the more information they have, they can restrict and hide those information, and making room for the gray area to get some bribe from their customer, means the pensioners. Look, no pension will be admissible to a civil servant who is dismissed or removed from service for reasons of discipline. Now, eye-opener, that if you are removed at any time, not that after 2 years, 10 years, 25 years, no need. Even you are removed from the service at 59 years and 364 days, you are not eligible for the this pension or the gratuity, because the government, it is a rule for this, that the person who has been removed from the service on the disciplinary action, any of the disciplinary reason. So what is the message conveyed from the here? That the government servant or the civil servant, they should be totally loyal towards their profession, they should be professional, and they should avoid any of the misconduct, because if there is any of the misconduct and the competent authority thinks that they should be removed on the basis of this, they will not be eligible for the pension. But at the same time, there is a gray area and the one option available for the government. But if the government may sanction compensation not more than the 2/3 of such pension or gratuity. सर्विस से आपको जो है वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आपको जो है वो रिमूव हो गए. Now what the government can do? Government, you are not eligible for the pension, you are not eligible for the gratuity, but government thinks that although the employee has been terminated or removed from the service, however, he should be given some of the benefit, because state works like a mother, and state provides, and if at the age of 59, if any of the person is victim of this kind of things, so how he will survive? So the competent authority has one option. He can give compensation 2/3 of the total gratuity of the pension, total gratuity or the pension. For example, if you have to get the 33 lakh at the end of your service, 2/3 of this is that you may be given 22 up to 22 lakh, that is the 2/3 of this, you may be compensated up to 22 lakh. So this compensation should not be the greater than the 2/3 of this. So it is a good provision, and in the most of the time, if unfortunately there is such kind of decision, government try to compensate any of the employee. After the pension and gratuity, the third rule we will discuss, and then we will discuss the Provident Fund. In the event of the death, unfortunately, if there is the death of a civil servant, whether before or after the retirement, his family will be entitled to receive such pension or gratuity or both, as may be described. The death is a natural phenomena. There are accidents, there are some natural deaths and whatsoever. If any of the person die during his service, before retirement or after the retirement, his family will be given the some of the benefits that he was enjoying. If a person is dies and his widow is there, definitely he will be getting the pension of that till her death. So there is the provision for this law, because the laws are not against the nature. So the death is a natural phenomena. So there have been written in the act that even a person dies before the retirement or after the retirement, his family, now the family procedure or the family criteria may be different. कितनी किसी की एज होनी चाहिए, कौन से बच्चों को मिलेगा या नहीं. The Provident Fund. Before the expiry of the 3rd month, look at this, how the Constitution says and what is happening in the reality. Before the expiry of the 3rd month of every financial year, the account officer is required to maintain Provident Fund accounts, and it shall furnish to every civil servants. आप तो धक्के खाते रहते हैं ना अकाउंट ऑफिस के, but it is the duty of the concerned department that as the financial year, it starts from the 1st of the July, August and September. At the expiry of the 3rd month, it means at the end of the September and the 30th September, the account officer will have to furnish and will have to convey to the employee about his Provident Fund. There are the Benevolent Fund and there are the group insurance. If you see your salary slip, you will see that there is deduction of GP fund over time. And interestingly, I have some of the examples that a person served more than 10 years, more than 20 years. There was continuous deduction of the GP fund, but there was no allocation of the number of GP fund. तो कहाँ जाता रहा भाई ये GP fund? At the end, he has to face many problems. So be vigilant. Look at you think, is there any of the discrepancy? Immediately approach to the account officer and the other concerned authorities for the to remove this discrepancy. Otherwise, as the time goes on, the problem becomes more and more severe. There are the Benevolent Fund and the group insurance. All civil servants and their families shall be entitled to the benefit admissible under the Central Employees Benevolent Fund and Group Insurance 1969 and the rules made it. ये जो है वो उसी तरह है जिस तरह जो है वो पीछा जो है वो हमने जो है वो जनरल प्रोविडेंट फंड की बात की. The families shall be entitled benefit admissible under the Employees Benevolent Fund, that is the 1969. Right of appeal or representation. Every person has the right of appeal, where a right is to prefer an appeal or apply for review in respect of any order. You may go for the appeal or the review relating to the terms and condition of his services provided a civil servant under any rules applicable to him. You may be given the opportunity. For example, if you are demoted from the 18th grade to 17, then you have the right to appeal. You go to the court, you go to the service tribunal, you go to the ombudsman, whatsoever the suitable forum is, you can approach this, and the department will provide you all the records and the opportunity. It is just a textbook theory. In reality, the situation is different. So the civil servant should be provided all these supports under all the laws that are applicable to him. Framing of recruitment rules. Who frames the recruitment rules? How they differ from one time to another time? The methods of appointment of federal civil posts are regulated under the provision of Civil Servant Appointment, Promotion and Transfer Rules 1973. Now we have just concentrated on the federal government and the federal civil posts, and how these methods of appointment are being governed. They are governed under the rules that is called the Appointment, Promotion and the Transfer Rules 1973, and from under section 25 Civil Servant Act 1973. If you see the Civil Servant Act of 1973 and you you reach at the article or the section 25, you will see that there are the comprehensive laydown and description of all the methods that are used for the appointment. It is not a randomly selected procedure. It is a systematic procedure to which each and every one has to be followed. Otherwise, the situation may become null and void. And there are many examples when these rules are not followed. The candidate approach to the court abolish this process and ask for the re-recruitment of the people. Merit provincial regional quotas civil servants post 51 number 13. 51 number 13, this is the class number of that, and how these quotas are there. In civil servant, in the federal government, all the provinces have their different quotas. You cannot say that they are without the quotas, and there are some urban and rural quotas are also. They are mostly dependent upon the population of any of the province. But at the highest level, there is the merit quota. First, there is the merit. For merit, each and every person from any part of the Pakistan, starting from the Quota to the rural Sindh, they can apply for the merit. But there are because there are the disparities in education and the opportunities in the system. To address those opportunities and the disparities, lack of opportunities and the disparities, there are the quota system that the people who have the weaker background, they can compete with themselves rather than competing with the other. Because, for example, if there is the open quota, you will see that many candidates from the Punjab will win these seats. There are two reasons. The first is that their population is high, so more candidates appear for that seat. The other is the education level is higher in Punjab as compared to the many our other provinces. So to address this issue, there is the merit quota in the federal services, no in the provincial services. Similarly, this quota is you can see applicable in some of the institutions that are the educational institutions. There are reserved seats for this. It has been decided that with immediate effect, the following merit quota shall be observed in filling vacancies reserved for direct recruitment to post under the federal government. Now the one condition is there that there should be the direct recruitment. If there is indirect, or you can say the promotional procedure, there is no rule, these are merits or the quotas, you will have to go through your systematic process. But when there are direct recruitment in the federal seats, then we will see a very interesting situation and very good mechanism that how the people are select for the merit. Then there are the Sindh, Punjab, northern areas, and the Quota, Balochistan, and within Sindh there is the distinction of rural Sindh and the urban Sindh. Here is the summary of this merit quota. Every time we will be supposing that there are 100 seats. For example, there are the federal government wants to recruit 100 candidate, there are 100 posts available, and this is for the federal civil service. Federal civil service. Now if you are further interested, you can say for the planning ministry. We start our discussion. The merit 10%, 10% of 100, so there are 10 seats available for the open merit. This is the merit. Each and every person from every choke and corner of the Pakistan can apply for this. There is no restriction on this. He will be considered for this. After this, the Punjab, and when we say talk about the Punjab, it also includes the federal area of Islamabad. So we can say that Punjab, including Islamabad, there are 50 seats, 50% seats. A big amount. So out of 100, the lion's share go to the Punjab, that is the 15 seats. No doubt that the population of the Punjab and plus the federal capital, this is more than the 50%. So this quota system or this merit system is exactly according to the law. It is not you can say the exploitation of any of the province. So after this 50%, now 60 seats are over 10 open merit, 50% for the Punjab, Sindh including Karachi. It means Sindh urban. I can say that Sindh urban. And there are 19% seats for Sindh urban, for Karachi, Hyderabad and Sakkar. In the next line you can see the share of Sindh will be further sub-allocated in the following ratio, and we will see that urban areas, namely they are the Karachi, Hyderabad and Sakkar. So what is this? Urban Sindh constitute the Hyderabad, Sindh and the Sakkar, three biggest cities of the Sindh province, Karachi, Hyderabad and the Sakkar. So how they constitute? They constitute the 19% of the total seat. So as we have assumed that there are 100 seats, so the 90 seats will go to this urban Karachi, and the people who have the domicile from Karachi, Hyderabad and the Sakkar, they can apply. They can only apply for these 19 seats or the 19% seats. So this is the 19% seat. So urban area, the share of Sindh will be further sub-allocated in the following way. Total जो है वो सिंध का 19, तो इसका मतलब है कि सिंध के लोग जो है वो 19% के लिए जो है वो अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. There seems some discrepancy in my explanation. The total Sindh proportion is 19%. Out of these 19% goes to 40% goes to the Karachi, Hyderabad and Sindh. It means half and 7 are 7.6. So if there are 100 seats, the people from Karachi, Hyderabad and Sakkar, they can apply for the 7 seat. If I round it up, it will become 8 seats. So they can apply for the 8 seats, and the people who have domiciled from the Karachi, Hyderabad and the Sakkar, they can apply for this quota. These are the 8 seats. Total seat for the Sindh are 19. Let me category clear about this. Rural as well as the urban Sindh, there are total the 19 seats. Now out of these seats, in other province there is no bifurcation or the segregation. But in Sindh there is the rural Sindh and the urban Sindh. And for the rural Sindh, that is the 40% of the 19%, these are the 8 seats. And the rural area are rest of the Sindh. अब Karachi, Hyderabad और Sakkar को निकाल दें, it is 60% of the 19% seat. तो 19% 16 का बनता है तकरीबन 11 सीटें. तो जो लोग जिनका डोमिसाइल कराची, हैदराबाद और सक्खर के अलावा किसी भी एरिया सिंध से है, they are eligible to apply for these 11 seats. Now I am rounding it off. So this was the story of the Punjab, open merit and the federal area. In KPK, there is 11.5. So if there are 100 seats, 11.5 or the 12 seat will go to the KPK. There is no other segregation or the further allocation of these seats. Balochistan, according to its population, it is 3.5%. Now you should not confuse that 3.5, how 3.5 seats can be allocated. It is not necessarily that every time there are 100 seats. So however, when there are any number of seats, they are rounded off. For example, if the share of the Punjab comes 20.50, it will be rounded up to 21. Then there is the NAFTA. NAFTA, there is two words, NA and FATA. NA, northern areas, and the FATA, federally administrated tribal areas. So their share is 4%. And for the AJK, the share is the 2%. So this is the mechanism for the merit, quota and all the systematic provision of all the recruitment process here. कि कैसे कैसे जो है वो लेना है. Now I am sure that you are well aware of this, that you can apply for the open quota. Everyone can apply. Now if you are from rural Sindh, you will be eligible for the 60% of the 19%. Total are the 19%. If you are from Karachi, Hyderabad and Sakkar, you will be applying for the 40% of the 19% seats. That becomes equal to 7.4. KPK, according to its population, its share is 11.5. Balochistan, it is 3.5. NAFTA, it is 4. And for AJK, it is 2%. Minimum length of service for promotion. So here is a bit description that how minimum age number of year required for your promotion, because every time it is the desire of each and every person to be promoted as quickly as possible. Even I would like to be promoted as quickly as possible. So what is the, according to the said Act, now what is the said Act? This is the Act 1973. Minimum length of the service for promotion to various grades shall be as follows. If you are, at what time you will become the eligible for the 18th grade, you will become eligible when you have served 5 years in grade 17. Before 5 year service, you are not eligible to be promoted for the 18th. This is the rule, and it is strictly obeyed in the civil services. Now we suppose that you, a person is at what time he becomes eligible to be promoted for the 19th grade. So 19th grade, there should be 12 years in grade 17 or above. So it is not necessarily that there will be totally 12 year in the 17th grade or 12 year in the 18th grade. No, necessarily 17 and above. This is the, it could be the combination. The combination could be tinted towards the 18th grade, that there are 7 year in 18, 5 year in 17, and whatever the other combination could be there. For grade 20, you need 17 years in grade 17 or above. 17 साल जब आपकी सर्विस हो जाती है, then you become the eligible for grade, and this your service should be in the 17 or the above grade. This grade is 21. That for the 21 grade, you any of the employee become eligible if he have served for the 22 years in any of the 17 and above. So can I plus minus this? 12 plus 5, 17, 17, 34 plus 22, it will become 56. No, this is not the situation. Every time it is included, and what you require to reach to the grade 21, you require to serve as 22 years in different grades that are in 17 and above grade. So if you are employed at the 25 of the age, you may reach at the age of 47 if there is a continuous and without any break, the process, everything is on time, you may be promoted to the 21 grade after the 47 years, when your age will be the 47 year. So this was the criteria, and you will be thinking about the 22 grade. Where is that grade? That is totally a political post, and government can appoint any of the person, that is the secretary, from pick any of the person from 21 for the 22 grade. So that is the political. It is not, you can say, the procedural. However, any person who is working in the 21 grade, he may be chosen by the competent authority. Now the competent authority is the political master. They can choose any of the person. So pick and choose start from here, because the secretary is at the highest post and he is the direct member of the Prime Minister or ministry team. So there, but most of the time now there is also trend can be seen that there is a trend that the most person and the most experienced person is more eligible for this. So after giving you a detailed description of the recruitment process, I am dead sure that at least you have known about each and every procedure of this, starting from the probation to ending towards that the merit, quota, and the minimum age and the retirement and whatsoever. So I will be just giving you a very smart summary of this lecture, and then I will be saying you goodbye, because now you are very happy that you have gone through and you are even you are at the higher level. This knowledge is very critical for you. This is not the complete knowledge. Go to the Act 1973 Act, that is easily accessible to you, and go in detail for each and everything. It will help you a lot for this. So from where we started from the today. From the transfer and posting, you may be transferred in anywhere of the Pakistan. You may be appointed in anywhere outside of the Pakistan. The one condition is you may be appointed at the equivalent level, or you may be appointed at the higher post. The other after this was that there is the termination. You do not be angry that I am just pinpointing you. You mean any of the employee. So any of the employee may be terminated without the notice when he is on the probation, but when he becomes a permanent, if anybody wants to remove him, he or she should be given the equal opportunity to justify himself. Then there was E and D rule, the conduct rule, that the efficiency and discipline rule. During the service, a civil servant should be totally regular or totally working according to the rules and regulation that are written there. And if unfortunately there is removal from the service at any time on the basis of this disciplinary action, the person is not eligible for the gratuity and the pension. However, government had given some of the provision that two-thirds, not more than two-thirds, may be compensated. The word is that may be compensated for this and that. And if any of the person dies after the retirement or during the service, his family is eligible for all the benefits that are prescribed in the law or in the act. So this is time to say you goodbye. Take care and Allah Hafiz. In the next lecture, very important topic, that is the NFC award. So enjoy the time. See you goodbye. Allah Hafiz.